All right, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Greater Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce Municipal Candidate Forum, hosted by the Government Relations Committee. Tonight's forum is being live streamed to the Greater Fayetteville Chamber Facebook, and I believe to Fayetteville Tech's YouTube as well. I'm Peter Pappas. I'm the chairman this year for Government Relations. Our mission at the Greater Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce is to serve on behalf of our business community and more. Specifically, the Government Relations Committee's job is to interface the business community with their elected officials. We at the Chamber feel that responsible economic and community growth stem from solid relationships with our elected officials. I serve at the pleasure of the board, and I want to thank all concerned citizens and candidates for being here tonight. I especially want to thank the candidates, especially for putting their names on the ballot. I know what a sacrifice that can be. I also need to thank a few people, the following: the Chamber's Board of Directors and the President and CEO of the Chamber, Nat Robertson, the attendees of our monthly Government Relations Committee meetings that we hold on the second Tuesday of every month, Miss Angie Hedgepeth of the Longleaf Pines Realtors, and a special thank you to Jamie McLaughlin, Greater Fayetteville Chamber, for keeping us organized and on task. Thank you, Jamie. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention those at Fayetteville Tech, especially Miss Janan Warren. She is the Director of Media Services. I think she's back there on the ones and twos. And she is the Fayetteville Tech Center for Virtual College. And her staff been very welcoming. Thank you. So I do want to take a moment and acknowledge the elected officials in the room. But in the sake of time, I want to ask all current and past elected officials to please stand and be recognized, if you could, please. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much, y'all. So now the fun stuff. Let's talk about some rules of the forum. I want to introduce our panelists who will be asking the questions. To my right, we have Bill Bowman of the Up and Coming Weekly. We have Mr. Bill Kirby of City View Media and Mr. Myron Pitts of the Fayetteville Observer. The Greater Fayetteville Chamber has provided all three panelists with a list of questions that has been sourced from surveying the members of our over 1,300 strong membership. Each panelist was asked to devise their own questions for an assigned district so they could talk about specific needs within that city council district. To begin with, there will be no candidate introductions. Please direct your attention to the screen behind the candidates. The Greater Fayetteville Chamber has provided QR codes for you to scan to learn about them. That way we save some time. We will cycle through the city council districts in numerical order from 1 to 9, followed by the mayoral candidates. There will be 4 questions per round. Both candidates will have equal opportunity to be the first to answer 2 of them. The respondents will have 1 minute and 30 seconds for their initial response and 1 minute, 30 seconds for rebuttal. There will be an optional 30-second follow-up at the moderator's discretion should a candidate mention their opponent's name or strongly imply their opponent through body language or indirect attack. Lastly, to the candidates, when the 4th question is being offered to the current group, please make your way to the stage so you can take to your chairs immediately. We have 20 people to get on stage, so please respect other people's time. So with that said, y'all ready to get started? District 1 candidates, Mr. Stefan Ferguson and Mr. James Thomas, please come to the chairs. Dealer's choice, pick whichever one y'all want. All right, and
well, I brought my shades.
All right, panelists.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Ferguson, I've got you guys. You had a pretty tight primary, as I recall. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You want it closer?
Yes.
You have a pretty tight race. Tell me, I'm going to start with you.
Give it a tap, Bill. It's on mute if it's red.
You know, I'm good at this.
Test, test, test.
Mic check. People. So, Mr. Wright, what are your plans going forward? You got 22 days. Mr. Thomas, I beg your pardon.
Short answer, I plan to win. Long answer, consistently what I've been doing before I even started running, which is being in the community, talking to people in the community and getting their opinions on issues and studying and researching ways that I could solve them. Before the primary even started, I spent at least 5-6 hours at College Lakes Library just studying the city, studying how to solve things such as infrastructure, homelessness, youth gun violence. And that's why I plan to implement once I get in. And that's why I portray to people when I go knock on doors, when I go to those spaces in the community and just try to relate with them in that aspect, as well as fundraising and connecting with different people through events. We have an event on Wednesday called Buy Back the Block. And that's something where people my age and is open to everybody, but we introduce them to what city politics is. We introduce them to what these issues are, and we gather that information. And that's something I would like to implement when it comes to donating to nonprofits as well, getting that statistics and getting that information. So I try to live what I preach.
How about you, Mr. Ferguson?
I plan to continue the work that we're doing in the communities, and really just digging deep into what we have to do in order to win. I know he has plans to win, but he might want to change his plans because that's not going to happen. But what we're doing is really getting out more in the community and just showing people and telling people what we're doing and what we expect. And what they expect out of me as a council member. I have served with the city in many areas. I've served on many of the committees and the agencies within the city of Fayetteville. I served as a charter member of the Fayetteville Ethics Commission, most recently on the Planning Commission. I've served with the Human Relations Commission, as well as Feed Fayetteville and many other areas. So I have a great a grasp on what is needed and what is necessary. I've been in the community talking with a lot of
That's time, sir.
the individuals.
Oh.
That's time. Okay.
That's 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds of time. Keep going,
You
Mr.
got to
Ferguson.
recite
A minute and a half, and then you got
I'm
30.
so I apologize.
Wait, I'm confused. What happened?
Mr. Peter, we're gonna have to talk after this, brother.
Yeah, well,
Just don't, okay. You have 30 more seconds, correct? Okay, 30 more seconds, sir. I
have 30 more
apologize.
seconds. Okay.
In substance, we're just going to work real hard to do what we have to do and to reach out in the communities. It's about 40-some neighborhoods in District 1, and it's a great community. And I know that when people know that our policies, our platforms, what we stand for, and what we're going to do, I'm your get it done, action-oriented optimist candidate. And so I believe when people see that and they see our reactions and what we're doing, that they will vote for us.
Now time. Okay, thank you. Mr. Thomas, would you like to rebut?
Yeah, I'd just like to shed light that I've been in this community from the ages 13 to 16. I worked in recreation centers all across North Carolina, just being a mentor to children. And from the ages 16 to 18, I was vice chair of the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council. And I'm also a member of Fayetteville PAC, where we done things such as advocate for body cams for the sheriff's office, which was in 2023. Filed a complaint against the city for a moratorium, which released those funds into the city and prevented 3,000 people from being homeless, and advocate for a citizens review board.
Okay, thank you. Next question, please.
Okay, understanding the essential services for our citizens takes long-term takes long-term planning. So this is for Mr. Thomas. How do you plan to improve our infrastructure of our public services? And by infrastructure, I mean our city roads, our utilities, and perhaps enhancing public transportation.
Yeah, so if you've been to any of the recent forums, any of the previous forums, I advocate for this thing called Civic Plus. And what this is, it provides live dashboards for these projects that we have, so citizens can get real-time updates as we're enacting these projects and deadlines, as well as the bidding options. It's very transparent, and it also has a direct connection to each department. So when you see a road, or when you see a broken stoplight, or when you see something wrong on the sidewalk, you can go on the website and then you can implement it there, and it'll go directly to those departments, so people could come out and get to those issues a lot quicker. It also provides that sense of transparency that everybody's been looking for and everybody's been wanting. And so that's something I would advocate for, as well as a better vetting program for our project managers. I'm currently working on my master's in project management at Wake Forest, so I know the ins and outs of what it takes for an infrastructure project to be sought through and how it works. So if we tighten that vetting process up, if we hire people from the city that will take pride in the city and this infrastructure, and we implement Civic Plus, I feel like there's nothing we can't do.
Mr. Ferguson, same question. How do you plan to improve local infrastructure?
You know, one of the most important things that we have to do when looking at that is we have to look at the relationships and collaborating with our local county and as well as mainly state officials and leaders, because it's very important, because the money comes from them. So if we don't have any kind of relationship with them, then it's very difficult to do. So my thing would be, and the good thing about my work is that I have a great relationship with probably most of every elected official at every level, from the city to the county to the state. So I will work with them very diligently to make sure that we get the funding that's needed in order to do it, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the money, and that's where it comes from. So my focus would be collaborating with them, making sure that we see the core needs of the city as it relates to infrastructure, and work with our local elected officials to make sure we get the funding to make it happen.
Okay,
So let me ask you this.
gentlemen, the next two questions need to be directed to Mr. Ferguson first.
Let me find. Mr. Ferguson, Mayor Pro Tem Kathy Keith Jensen has been the District 1 representative for 12 years. And she's got a pretty good record out there. So how are you going to carry on her work if you're elected? And what would be your vision for District 1?
Well, I would, and thank you for that question. It is, I would work with Mrs. Jensen. In fact, in the past 4 years or so, I have been probably bugging her, just asking questions and seeing what it entails, because I was a member of the Homeowners Association for our community on the board of directors, and listen to the needs of the community. So I have a really good relationship with the Mayor Pro Tem Kathy Jensen for the past 4 years or so, and I know what's needed. She keeps me abreast because I'm always asking her of what's going on in the city. What do we need? What are the needs? The top issue that is economic development, because I believe that when you deal with economic development, when you have good paying jobs, when you have a thriving economy, thriving businesses, entrepreneurs, that solves many of the issues that we're dealing with, and many of the concerns, and many of the concerns that the people that in District 1 that they have is, good paying jobs, affordable housing, things of that nature. So when you deal with economic development, then crime goes down, way of life, quality of life goes up. And so that's what I would do. I would continue the work, continue to work in our community in District 1. But that is some shoes to fill. That is some
There's
big
time.
shoes to fill, but
Thank you, sir.
we're ready to go.
Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate on if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So, and one thing that Ms. Kathy Jensen has been a strong advocate for since she's gotten in has been youth development. She implemented the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, which I am a product of. From 16 to 18, we work directly with the city council. We work directly with the county commissioners to do community engagement and really know what it takes to build a city. And the turnover rate, as in how many of those people went to college, is 100%. So if we bolster more of those youth development programs, such as FCYC, such as OCS, where they're partnering kids with mentors and putting on programs for the youth, we can do more. We can do more, and we can do better that way, because I believe it takes a village, not just to raise a child, but to build a community. But first, we got to take care of the ones building it. As far as issues in District 1, main things we hear is speed bumps, fast cars, and loud music, right? So I will work with the city police and fire department, because we don't want too many speed bumps so they can't get to where they need to go, but also find ways to put it in a safe place where it can slow down these cars and prevent situations from happening.
All right, thank you. Next question.
Thank you, gentlemen. Starting with Mr. Ferguson, what is your plan for revitalizing key areas of the city and addressing blight removal?
Well, working with what is already in place, there are many things that the city has been doing in order to do that. There is an issue sometimes with ownership and the community, but I would work closely in the community and work with the people and work with the county, the city, in those areas of the city. I relate mostly to District 1 because, but that is part of the revitalization effort, is because those are things that we want to revitalize the neighborhoods. That's part of affordable housing. There are some housing that just needs revitalized. It just needs to be, propped up and it needs to be corrected. So instead of rebuilding and new construction, we just revitalize and we save a lot of money in that effort. But I would work with the city and my colleagues in order to make that happen, because there are already things in play right now, and a lot of times there are things that we have that exist already that we just don't know about. So I want to focus on collaborating with and doing what's already in place in order to make that happen.
Same question, Mr. Thomas. What is your plan for revitalizing key areas of the city and addressing blight removal?
Yeah, similar to what Mr. Ferguson said, collaborating with city council and county commissioners, but we also have to put boots on the ground and get into those communities. I feel like canvassing shouldn't stop when election season ends. I feel like we should be consistently knocking on doors for hot topics such as shot spotters, such as HOAs and things like that. I feel like that's a way we could segue and get more input from the community that we've been looking for. And hopefully that way they'll feel a part of something so they could come out and vote the next election.
All right. That concludes District 1. District 2, please line up. Mrs. Thank you, gentlemen. No, one back, one back. So we welcome Mr. Malik Davis and Mrs. Gail Morfessis, District 2 candidates. The first question will go to Mrs. Morfessis. Gentlemen.
Good evening, Ms. Morfessis and Mr. Davis. First question for you, Ms. Morfessus, and then to Mr. Davis. How will you actively seek feedback from businesses to inform your policy decisions?
Well, I think one thing is that we so often feel that we are isolated from our representatives. And so I think it is important to go to the business, speak with the business owners face to face, because so often when I have been at town meetings and even with business owners, they say, well, no one really speaks to me. No one actually comes to see how I'm getting along. And quite frankly, I have talked to any number of business owners in the downtown, which District 2 is, of course, the downtown. And they feel that for example, the parking policy was put in without them feeling that they wanted that. And there are many communities like Southern Pines that have no paid parking, and they are getting along fine. But this paid parking has caused a lot of problems for our business owners. Many of them tell me that even because the meters aren't working right, that they have to pay for the parking for their customers because they come in and they say, I can't get the meter to work, and they have to go on and fix that themselves. The other thing about that issue is that I think most of the taxpayers do not know that the first year that was in effect, it took in about $300,000 because they only charged $1 an hour, which is very kind of them. But it cost about $1 million to collect that because they farmed out the collection to Winston-Salem and Durham 2 different years. So
Mrs.
that's a
Morfessus,
problem.
that's time. Thank you.
Mr. Davis, same question. How will you actively seek feedback from businesses to inform your policy decisions?
Thank you. So what I will continue to do is continue to attend those Downtown Alliance meetings. And Downtown Alliance has a meeting with Cool Spring District. They have a joint meeting, which I go to, and I hear the concerns, I hear the residents, and I also hear the business owners. And so what I will continue to do is continue to take those issues to the table. For the parking, me and one of my colleagues actually talked to some of the downtown individuals and some of the downtown business owners, and they had an input in that. And so I will continue to do what I've been doing, and that's attending community watch meetings with the Downtown Alliance and Cool Spring District and getting to know more of the business owners downtown. Downtown, you have a lot of businesses coming and going, so it's hard to keep up to know every business that's going and every business that's coming in. But for the ones that have been staple in the community for a while, I will continue to build relationships like with the bookstore downtown, Miss Diane Parfit. She's a big advocate for the downtown and Downtown Alliance. And of course, Miss Miss Molly. So I continue to build those relationships, but have those conversations and continue to bring their issues to the table because they already do have an input at the table.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question, let's go to Mr. Davis first.
Mr. Davis, I've been downtown. I've dealt with those parking meters. They don't half work. They won't take your credit cards. I got a ticket down there for $15 one day. We were doing the Visionary Awards for City View, and I had to go up there and do some work on that day, and I just parked, and I certainly got a $15 ticket. I called, is it Republic Parking? Is that who it is? I think that's who it is. I called them. They never called back. I called them 3 more times. They never called back. I sent them emails. They never called back. I think it's a problem, and I think downtown parking is a major problem. What do you think?
Thank you for that question. I think it's a question.
You sure you want to thank me for that question?
Question in there somewhere. right?
Because I'm going to tell you, I didn't pay that parking ticket,
Yes,
and I
sir.
told them I wasn't going to pay for it.
Well, thank you for letting me know that concern, and I'll make sure it gets to the right department. However, we do have to make sure that when we look at paid parking, we have talked, like I said, we've talked to the business owners downtown, we've talked to city staff. And so I think it's an ongoing process. It's not going to change today. But if you go to Raleigh, you go to Durham, you go to various areas in bigger cities, they all have paid parking. However, I think it's a continued effort that we have to do at City Hall to make sure that we are making sure that we're not causing a burden on the people of the city of Fayetteville. So I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and we're going to continue to work on it.
Mrs. Morfessus?
Can I go ahead with that then? Well, most of you know I'm a singer, so I'm sitting here thinking about the song "Too Much, Too Little, Too Late." But we're not going to go there, are we? But I'm just saying that the parking. Well, Mr. Davis, who I like very much, he's a nice young man, but he was saying the businesses are always coming and going. The businesses are always coming and going because the downtown is not friendly to the businesses. They are not helping the business owners. They are not talking to the business owners, and they're not listening to the business owners because people have told them over and over again about this parking issue. And I just want to tell you that a long time ago, I decided that I was big enough and strong enough that if I made a bad decision, that I could face up to that and change it. So the thing is, I think it's time for the city to face the fact that they got into this paid parking because one of the city council members told me the reason they got it is because now we have secret stadiums who are a big city. Oh, well, one building does not a big city make. So I disagreed with them on that fact too. And I just said, if it isn't working, just admit it was a bad decision and change it, because I promoted that they could have sold city parking permits for $300 or $400 for you to have a sticker on your car, and that wouldn't have cost anything to collect because they would have been sold by our city workers that are already down there that
There's
are getting
time.
paid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next question directly to Mrs. Morfessis, please.
Gail, downtowns are the heart of most all major cities. In our downtown, we seem to have a chronic infestation of panhandlers and vagrants that have almost become part of the landscape to where they're totally ignored by city officials and police officers. So how do you plan to address that, since public safety is going to be a major topic during this campaign, and it is a public safety issue?
Absolutely. I agree totally. I think that we have to address our public safety issues. And one thing we have to do is we have to let the police do their job. Unfortunately, too often the police are told to stand down or to not do their job, or that they have to be very careful because they might offend someone. But if someone is breaking the law, something has to be done about it. We do have, by the way, a settlement coming from the opioid settlement. It is about $3.2 million coming to the city of Fayetteville in the next 2 and 3 years. And if we use that money for what it's supposed to be used for and not waste it, like many projects that have gone on in the last 4 or 5 years, then we could actually start programs for drug treatment and have actually in that facility, there would be not only a place for them to stay, get treatment, have job training, and get back on their feet. And that issue alone would take care of not only drug problems, it would take care of homelessness and poverty. We have that situation because we have people that really have nowhere to go, and they have been not dealt with actually in an appropriate way. But we really must back our police, and we must keep our city clean and safe, because otherwise no one wants to come there, and businesses do not want to come here.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Davis.
So I do want to correct something. When you said infestation, we're talking about the homeless, and it's not an infestation by the homeless. What it is an issue that we're having. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but our homeless is not an infestation. However, we do have a problem downtown. And the issue is that some people do feel like they're being harassed by individuals when they're eating at downtown. And so what the city has tried to help Cool Springs District, who we have assigned to help out with the downtown environment, is we also put in ambassadors. And so we're working on getting more ambassadors along with more policing to help downtown Fayetteville. So it is a great concern about the business owners, and they have made their points to me, and I have taken them to city council. So like I said, we're working on more ambassadors through Cool Springs District, and also to help police the area with more police officers. Because also I've been getting calls that residents are having great concerns that live upstairs, and they're having a lot of things going on downtown. So we are currently working on getting the downtown to where it needs to be, and I definitely have heard from the residents and the business owners downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question to Mr. Davis.
Yes, Mr. Davis. Homelessness was mentioned by both of you. I wanted you both to address more specifically, what do you think the city is doing right or wrong when it comes to homelessness and dealing with that issue, unhoused folks? And what other measures, if you believe there is a problem, should be taken?
Thank you. That was my question, right? Okay. So I think what we could do better is our approach to homelessness. And we are doing that by our Office of Community Safety. We now have an Office of Community Safety. We now have Mr. John Jones, who is the Director of Office of Community Safety. And so one of the pillars that we have given them is to help out with the mental health and homelessness. And so they are currently working on it. I think that I am a part of the committee for the homeless from City Council Homeless, and we have been looking at ways to house them. However, we have to make sure that when we're looking at ways to house the homeless, that we're not just putting up anything to throw them into something, but we're making sure that we're going through the process and making sure that they have somewhere adequately to stay.
Yes, I wanted to say, first of all, I agree that the homeless should not be disrespected or felt that it's an infestation, that's for sure. But it is an issue because if they are there and no one is helping them or doing anything about it, then it does hurt our businesses. So we definitely do have to look into the problem. But what bothers me is that we have lots of agencies that work. If people would get people to work together and tap into things that we have. Just yesterday, I saw an ad for the Tunnels for Towers, that they will come in and build major complexes for homeless veterans. We have a lot of homeless veterans. I don't know whether you realize how many homeless veterans are actually out there. And they will actually come and build it, but you have to ask them to come and build it, and you have to get them the land to put it on. And the truth of it is, I don't see any of these things being worked on. I see that we have a wonderful agency of Habitat for Humanity. They come out and do a lot of building projects for people. And they also will link in with a local fund, a grant that we have that people can get money for houses. And it seems like never do we get all the hands to meet, because it seems like everyone is just working on their own. And I have worked with a lot of not-for-profits in the area, and I was a university professor, and I was a business owner and a taxpayer.
Thank you, Mrs. Morfessis. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes District 2. Thank you so much. District 3, Dr. Antonio Jones and Mr. Jeremy Wright to the stand. Gentlemen, I saw the handshake. Thank you. I want a good, clean fight. No hits below the belt. Thank you. All right. So first question will go to Dr. Jones. Oh, they're looking deep.
This goes to candidate Wright.
Jones.
Oh,
sorry.
All right, candidate Jones. All right. Traffic seems to be a major problem in Fayetteville. If you've ever been down Ramsey Street and been passed on both sides with cars doing 80 miles an hour, or on 295 with people doing 100 miles an hour, it's a safety issue. Have you even thought about how you would address that in your district?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited to say one of the things that I was able to help accomplish in 2022 when I sat on city council on MacArthur Road. There is a stoplight that is now there. I was responsible to help bring that there, boots on the ground. That was a very long project, simply because some neighborhoods could not get out of their some people could not get out of their neighborhoods, and coming right off of 295, the traffic backup was horrible. So more specifically, I haven't thought about that. And one of the things I want to do is we have to empower our law enforcement to enforce. But part of that issue is we're down about 53 staff members. And so with that, they're spread extremely thin. I'm not giving them a way out. What I'm saying is stating some facts. So one of the things that I do want to do is look at specific roads, such as what we're doing, what the city is doing now on the Rose Hill Road extension, do some studies just to find out what specific type of traffic calming measures are needed aside from enforcement. So what we can do immediately, and this is where the community can actually help us, especially in District 3, they're very good at that, letting you know where are the hot spots, so to speak. Where are these areas that the speeding is occurring, so that we can relay that to the police and let them know so that they can set up officers in that particular area and watch.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Mr. Wright.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of what Dr. Jones just said. I think that enforcement is going to be a key in this, and I think that one of the things with the officers, with that count being down and us needing more officers at this point in time, I think that if we can actually get out and as a community encourage those people who are qualified to come out and work for the police department, then we could possibly put people in place to actually enforce the speed limits that we already have in place. I think I was listening to a young man last night who gave some statistics about speed in different areas. I think one of the things that we need to do, particularly with the deaths that just took place over in our district and on Rose Hill Road, is actually like talk more to our children or people who are speeding, to let them know what kinds of what this is causing in our community. I think we have broken hearts this week with an entire group of people because of these kinds of accidents, and we see these things happen over and over, and it's caused because of speed. So I think that enforcement is going to be our thing, and we most definitely need to encourage our community to get out and rally behind finding our officers to enforce those speed limits.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question will go to Mr. Wright directly,
Mr. Wright?
please.
Mr. Wright, Mario Benavente has been the two-term councilman for District 3. He certainly advocates for social issues, social justice, fair play, and he lets people know it, but he's not coming back. Well, not anytime soon. How are you going to be a different District 3 councilman?
Well, I'll be different because I'm a different person. But more importantly, I think that some of the things that he's done in terms of advocating is necessary, right? I will actually build on the fact that he has been in the community talking to our constituents. That's one of the things that I build on, because I think that was a favorable part of what it is that he did do and is doing. He is advocating for the people, right? I think that would be something that I carry on, that I am most definitely interested in having these conversations, and I am having conversations with our community partners. So I think in that way, we won't differ at all. I think we will differ based on our personalities. I think that one of the things that's important about us working together in our candidates forum, our meeting that we had on when we first became candidates, we found out, I think Robo told us about a statistic where that was a statewide statistic where we understood that that Greensboro, Wilmington, other areas were thought more favorably about their community than we do here in Fayetteville, and that bothered me a little bit. So I will be in the community advocating much like he did, but with a different personality. That would be our difference.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
I would also piggyback off of Mr. Wright. One of the things that I will continue to do, which is simply engage with the community. Also, I want to make it clear, one of the things that I will continue is the continual expansion of our OCS, our Office of Community Safety, as it relates to our crisis response and the work that we're doing with the homeless. So I really want to see that particular department build out to become what we envisioned it. I know it's a work in progress. We have staff. To me, I believe we have some great staff, but I definitely want to see that aspect of what Mr. Benavente did come forth. It may look a little different. It may look a little different, but those 4 pillars that they are currently working on, I'm definitely in support of that. One of the other things that I definitely would do again, I continue to engage with our community, because for me, for District 3, we have a very informed district, very informed district. So one of the things that I would do is continue to engage in the community. Before I was even in office, don't need a title to do things. I had 2 community watch meetings in relation to the county's tax valuations, because I wanted them to know ahead of time what that could potentially look like on the city level. So I'll continue that level of engagement with our community, because one thing I want to let District 3 know, you will not be forgotten. I know if I'm elected, I'll represent the entire city of Fayetteville.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Thank you. Let's stick with Mr. Wright, please. Next question.
Yes, starting with, I believe, Dr. Jones. As was mentioned by Mr. Kirby, the current District 3 councilman is an advocate for social justice. I think he would wear that as a badge of honor. One thing he was against, and I think probably the whole room knows, was the youth curfew that the council implemented. Dr. Jones and then Mr. Wright, what is your own position on the youth curfew, and what alternative or supplementary approaches would you support for addressing youth crime and providing positive engagement opportunities?
Great question. Great question. As is written, the curfew has, how can I say this, has little teeth in regards to its ability to be effectively, I'm trying to use the right word, for the police to do what they need to do. Now, I firmly believe our youth, except for certain reasons, shouldn't probably be out a certain time. You know, I'm certainly against that, for parenting that is responsible. However, one of the things I do want to look at, I believe there's going to be a report that's coming up soon that's going to talk about what that looks like for this city. I know we do a lot of peer comparison, but I want to see what that looks like for here. So some of the things I would support, just like I did on my time with the county Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, is support youth programming that's not as punitive. Now, at the same time, I realize that there are always going to be some individuals, whether they're youth or adults, where high levels of recidivism is going to be in place. So we can't always remove consequences, but I believe we can have some alternatives, such as mentoring programs that right where we're sitting, they have second chance programs here with Fayetteville Tech, where if it's a non-violent offense, you can come here to Fayetteville Tech, go through a trade school, learn a trade so that they can go out and be productive.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Next question to Dr. Jones.
Mr. Wright, same question. What is your position on the youth curfew, and what alternative approaches would you support for addressing youth crime and providing positive engagement opportunities?
Well, this one is a little bit personal to me. To answer your question, I would be for the curfew. At 3:07 a.m. on last Saturday morning, my mother called me and she screamed, "Isaiah's been shot and killed." My cousin. He was 21 years old. Shot in the back 3 times. We buried him on Saturday. If he had a curfew, in my estimation, at that time of morning, he would not have been out. He's 21. He would have been. The people who were shooting, I'm sorry, the young men that were shooting would not have been out. So with that, for me, he is 21, yes, and you're right. But the problem with that, with these young men after a high school football game were out, they were out. He was not the intended target. He's dead. He's 21. and I do understand that there are some things in the current policy that has to change and needs to be changed and we need to look at. But if I'm honest, from my position, I think that it is keeping some of us safe. And I think that, am I stopping because he held this up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
How old were the shooters?
Well, some of the group were as young as 15, 17. They were just out, but we don't have all of the details, but we do know that there were underage children out at that point in time.
Were they juveniles? Were they under 18?
Say that again?
Were they under 18 years
They were,
old?
some of them were under 18, and that didn't happen here. I am from Andrews, South Carolina, so that happened in my hometown. But
Okay.
that is my personal feeling.
Okay. We're going to move on. I need one more question from Mr. Jones, then we'll be done.
Okay, I was going to ask both you gentlemen, looking at all the things going on here in the community, what is your highest priority for District 3?
Okay. Well, for my district, for District 3, I think that I guess my personal priority is where I am. I'm stuck right now. We didn't move past the conversation that I was having with youth violence. But in our area, we're talking more about beautification and our property retention or value retention. Those things are things that we will be talking more about and focusing more on as we move forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Just to piggyback, one of the things in our district, again, I'm committed to them because, again, I know I would represent Fayetteville in its totality. I also want my district to know that I will not forget them once I get there. So one of the things that they've consistently talked about was infrastructure. As he mentioned earlier, I'm glad to say on Sunbury, right off Rose Hill Road, when I was in office in 2022, I pushed on our city council, not city council, on our city manager in regards to pushing this through. I went door to door to let these individuals know. They've been working on this. Just to give you a very quick historical aspect, the late Mr. Robert Massey was working on that as well. So I told them, if I get out of this office, one of the things I'm going to do is make sure it happens. I'm glad to tell you that during that time, we did our right-of-ways. So we bought the right-of-ways, and right now that $7.1 million infrastructure project is being done, so the flooding will be eradicated. Number two, just to piggyback again, what my colleague has mentioned, for me and for the community, one of the things they made it sure, if I can say it very bluntly, they said, Jones, we don't want to lose our house. So for me, it means to reduce the effects of gentrification during all of these developments. We're developing, we are, but for me, they made it very clear to me, make sure that you help protect us. And one of the things I also did with that when City Council Member Tully, when he was.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, both. Thank you. District 4 candidates, please come to the stage. Mr. Stuart Collick and DJ Hare. Is Mr. Collick here? Mr. Stuart Collick?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Councilman Hare, is your opponent present?
Unless you see him, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, here, I don't see him. So let me ask you this, Mr. Hare. How long have you been a city councilman? I know you missed one term when you got off.
I've been serving since 1998.
How many terms have you served?
I am presently in my 12th term.
Well, that makes you the dean of the city council.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Collick I don't like it when people run for public office and then they don't show up at forums, and I just tell it exactly how I see it. Mr. Collick ran against you in 2023.
Yes, sir.
You defeated him. You had 81.2% of the vote.
83.
Nobody's counting, right?
I'm not going to argue with Mr. Hare. He had 18% of the vote. He had 322 people who voted for him. I was going to ask him this. You're a 12-term councilman, and I was going to ask him, how on earth does he plan to beat you between now and November the 4th? He's not here, so he can't answer. So let me go to this question. I don't think I've ever seen a councilman advocate for the Murchison Road corridor like you. And I'm sure that if elected again over Mr. Collick, you will continue that vision for Murchison Road. Why don't you talk to the people about that and why Murchison Road is so important to you?
Well, thank you for that question. That's a great question. I grew up off of Murchison Road, Washington Drive, Murchison Road. Been a part of my life, all of my life that I've lived in Fayetteville. A little history. When I grew up, Murchison Road corridor was almost like the Black business district of Fayetteville. A lot of small or local business owners had businesses up and down the corridor, to include my very own family. So it was always been very, very dear to me to support where I live. That's one of the reasons that I even sought office, was because of what it looked around me where I live. And I think anyone that's seeking office could probably say the same thing. So I've worked hard for the corridor. And then over the years, I began to see, as those businesses began to somewhat evaporate just a little or go out of business, I started to see how Murchison Road corridor began to be neglected. And we weren't getting the funding. We weren't getting the businesses. We weren't having the infill structure, which is something that I helped push back in the day. You remember the infill zoning for improving those areas. And I began to see that. And as that took place, I became, I guess you could say, a drum major for the corridor. I wanted to see that improvement. It had been left behind. And so now I'm happy to say that we're doing so much better. I mean, the opportunity zone is one area that's also helping the corridor. The city council members, it's not only me now, but my colleagues are also very, very much in supporting the corridors, but especially Murchison Road corridor, because I never let them forget about that. And we've had several businesses that their businesses have improved because of the right at a little over $2.5 million that we have invested in local business owners within the corridor. So the corridor is becoming, it's improving, it's getting better. We still need to improve, but if you just drive up and down the Murchison Road corridor right now, you'll see the improvements. And also let's look at partnerships and collaboration with Fayetteville State University. What they are doing that helps the university on the corridor also helps all of us from the north to the south end. So I will continue to do that. But one thing that I'm proud of is that the council that I'm with also continues to help. I was thinking, I know you just cut me off, but I was thinking, since my opponent wasn't here, you was gonna give me his 2 minutes too. But
I'm not going to change the rules too much, but
I guess I'm not going to get.
We'll stick at the 90 seconds per question. We have three more for you. We got plenty to talk about. You did too?
No, that's okay.
Okay, good.
I've got another question for you, Mr. Hare.
Yes, sir.
You sent me an email about 15 years ago.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you send good emails. And you were very offended because people have referred to the Murchison Road corridor as the Merc. And that offended you, and you told me that W.T. Brown taught you not to ever refer to it as the Merc. I think it's disparaging. You think it's disparaging. Why don't you talk about that?
If you all don't mind, the Word of God tells us that if you want to see things different, you have to think things different, and you have to say things different. If you want to see an area improve, you have to call that area by its name and what it is that you visualize it to be. I went to Dr. Brown's house years ago. I was over there talking to him about something. And I said, man, I'm going to the Merc. And he liked to have a pewty fit in the room. He began to explain to me that you are what you call yourself. If you want yourself to be different, then you have to call yourself different. So I say it all the time now to folk, not the Merc, but Murchison Road. I think that's prime. Thank you. So once again, if you want to see something different, then you speak that difference over that area, and that helps along with having good council members and others to pump the resources into the corridor. So yes, sir, that's why I was offended.
I always appreciate that email. I knew Brown, and you sent me that day. I never once referred to the Murchison Road corridor as the Merc.
Well, I appreciate that comment, and for the media that's here, since it's not stated loud enough, I hope that's one of the most bold statements in the paper tomorrow.
Those of you that do not know, Dr. Brown is a very smart man. My experience with him is when I said people need to be color blind when we're talking about race. And he said to me, that's correct, except it's color intelligent. And I never forgot that. He's a very smart man. Here's my question to you, Mr. Hare, and you obviously are dedicated to our city, but here in a city of 210,000 residents, do you think that a 9-member district city council form of government truly represents the people of the city when they go to the polls and only get to vote for 2 out of 10 of our city leaders? Do you think that that's the most effective, efficient form of government?
Why, of course I do. A single member representative should get a chance to know his or her district better than if it was back to where it was when I first started on council. We had a 13-member seat. Not only do I feel that citizens appreciate the district, or that me as a council member appreciated the single-member districts, but the citizens of Fayetteville overwhelmingly voted, okay, to get rid of the 3 at-large seats and go to the single-member district. I'll say this. There's not many places in District 4 that I represent, thank the Lord, from Raleigh Road to Murchison Road and everything in between. If you have just a little teeny bit of knowledge about city government, you know that I'm your representative. Why? Because you get an opportunity to get out there in those districts, in those communities, and people get to know you, and it goes on from there to there. And when they get to know you, if you don't mind me saying, that also helps and return you to your city council position.
Mr. Mayor, let me ask you one more question here. When Dismas Charities was built on Kane Road, you went to a meeting of residents out there. Is that on?
Say that again, please, sir.
Dismas Charities, you remember it? And you stood up for those people, the residents on Kane Road, and well, you need to get y'all need here. Okay. You remember being there, talking to those residents?
Okay. Would you just start over, please? I missed so much.
I'm going to start over. You remember Dismas Charities?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
You went to that meeting with from Kane Road and other neighborhoods over there.
Yes, sir.
They were adamantly opposed to building that halfway house for transitioning inmates.
A lot of them still are. Yes, sir.
Yes, they are. Well, it's built, and it backs right up to neighborhoods, right into their backyards.
Yes, sir.
How did that happen?
Well, the quick end of the story is the appellate court said it was going to happen. That's the end of the answer. The city council supported for it not to be there. The local residential court supported for it not to be there. Then the lawsuit came, or the appeals process came, and it came out of our hands, went to Raleigh, to the appellate court, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the appellate courts has either 4 or 5 judges on it. And the appellate court says, you gonna give the folk, Dismas Charities, what they want, or you're gonna be sued or liable, whatever the case may be. So that's what changed that for it to be there. And I will say, even then, when it came to council, I still didn't support it. I still didn't vote for it, but there were enough of votes there for it to take place. But I will like to say this, even though I know how the community in that area still, they don't appreciate Dismas Charities being there, but our great law enforcement, our great community partners that all work together, we haven't had any problems there. In our Scotty Hills Community Watch meetings, it's never come up that there's been any problems, and we'll just stay on top of it.
Well, there have been some problems, but that's the end of my question. Thank you for addressing it. You were very good to those people. I remember that, and so was Tisha Waddell.
Mr. Hare, good evening. First, I will also add my input on the Love Fest for Dr. W.T. Brown. I will share that me and my older brothers, we do a radio show, and he was a frequent caller. Obviously been a person to talk to, and we would be talking about whatever we're talking about, and then he would call in, get us straight.
Yeah.
Frame the issue, and he always was going to bring some wisdom, some history, and most important, some knowledge. So for those of you not familiar with him, there's a street named for him at Fayetteville State University. Look him up, he's a legendary educator. Let's talk about the other parts of the city that you represent. You touched on this. It's a pretty wide-ranging area, and it includes part of the Yadkin Road area where my folks live, Foxfire.
Yes.
So that's why this question in particular had relevance to me, because we know Yadkin Road is one of the least pedestrian-friendly roads probably in the country.
But it's better.
Yes, and Fayetteville has been rated very low on walkability. Well, not very low, at the bottom. How will you prioritize and fund pedestrian safety projects and sidewalk expansions?
That's a great question, man. I think you walked right into that one. there's been such great improvements there. Even right now, we push funding for sidewalks. Sidewalks have been constructed there. Maybe 5 years ago when, and I won't call any names, but when we had a different delegation that was in Raleigh, I lobbied so hard for push button pedestrian crossing machines that you all see all over the Fayetteville now, even though that was a part of all of us. But your councilman here advocated for those push button pedestrian crossings. Right now, we have several of those within the Yadkin Road, Foxfire, New Ponderosa area, just for what the issue that you just stated. That also helps with the walkability. That also helps with push the button, you know how much time you got to go across the street. That form of safety, along with someone that stated about being safety and some forms of safety that helps. Also with the camera systems that we have over there that also help improve catching some of those speeders that may fly by, and then we can get that information on them. So there's been a great deal of improvement within the Yadkin Road area. There's still much more to go, but that $450 million that we received from our delegation about 5 or 6 years ago has tremendously not only helped other areas, but it has helped the Yadkin Road community. And I'm still thankful to the delegation still today.
Thank you, Councilman.
That's it.
One more, gentlemen. Come on,
Is
one of
that
the
it?
bills. One more.
Okay.
We're going to lean on Myron for this?
How about crime in the city?
What
How
about
con-
it, sir?
How concerned are you about it?
Oh, I'm very concerned.
How concerned?
I'm so concerned that I led the fight with my colleagues to continue to improve the new technology for our police department presently right now in FY 25 budget. I also help support and push the new license tag cameras that we have in various parts of the city. I also was a part with my colleagues, supported the tier program for wages and salaries for our men and women that fight crime every day. I also supported, regardless of the overall totality of the city, to support the shot spotter technology. I believe that every tool that we can get and put in our toolbox to support crime, cutting down crime, or whatever the case, the objective is, that we need every tool within that toolbox. As I go to my seat, I think that everything that we can use to cut down on crime improves. But one of the big things that we need to do that we may not do as much as we should as parents, we need to talk to one another. We need to talk to our children. We need to let them know.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you guys
Councilman.
for letting me speak tonight.
We will conclude your interrogation. Have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So District 5, Councilwoman Lynn Green sends her regrets. She is unable to attend this evening. She had a conflict. So we are going to skip and go straight to District 6 with Mr. Ken Odegaard and Mr. Derek Thompson. Councilman Thompson, to the stage. All right, 4 questions. Who wants to go first? Welcome, gentlemen. First question.
Okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Bowman.
Thompson? All right, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir.
All right, I deal with contractors and new businesses almost every day, and we like to boast that we're a business-friendly city, but contrary to that, I don't hear many of them singing our praises of being able to do business in Fayetteville very easily. So what are your thoughts about streamlining the permitting process, making it easier for new businesses to get started, up and running without compromising the regulations or safety standards?
Well, first, let me say that's a great question. And before I get started, let me thank Dr. Searles and his staff for allowing us to have this forum here at FTCC. We are already in the process of doing just what you asked for. If you come to some of the UDO meetings that they're having, they're trying to streamline a lot of the problems that they're having with permitting when it comes to new businesses come here. As part of being the chair of the policy committee, we're also looking at the historic district on some of the struggles that new businesses have to conform to when they are inside the historic district. These are some of the things that I believe are slowing some of the growth down when it comes to our downtown. But you also have to look at the other side. Fayetteville, I'm gonna say this twice, Fayetteville is the fastest growing small business community, not just in North Carolina, but in the United States for small minority businesses. So businesses are coming. People say that there's no growth in the city when it comes to business. Well, you need to come to Southwest Fayetteville and see all the growth that's happening on Rayford Road, the growth that's going on Gillis Hill Road, the growth that's going to come on Stony Point Road. I tell people in my district, get ready, because it's going to be a big boom. It's going to be a big boom for businesses. It's going to be a big boom for economic development. And it's going to be a big boom for infrastructure. That's what we have to look forward for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Odegaard, same question.
Same question.
Well, I'm in Southwest Fayetteville. My primary responsibility will be to represent District 6 and the diverse city of Fayetteville. And as far as how business is going, I would do whatever I could to streamline the permitting process to increase the small business footprint in our town. Now, Southwest Fayetteville is kind of like the forgotten district. So it's growing leaps and bounds. All the roads are being widened right now. And things are looking up out in Southwest Fayetteville. A lot of bedroom communities, not a whole lot of businesses. We have 2 Food Lions, a lot of churches. We have a giant shopping center going up next to the Gillis Hill Gillis Hill Walmart. And that's not in the district, that's outside of the district. Some people might think it's in the district. Another shopping center going up just outside of the district will have a new Target. So these large developments have almost nothing to do with small business, but when they end, we have a Publix going up across the street from the Harris Teeter. So we have a very crowded bedroom community type district, a lot of dead-end subdivisions, no sidewalks. So for your pedestrian traffic, I have a lot of business owners want me to run, so I decided to run. And with these new developments going up, the one on Gillis Hill and then the one on Waldo's Beach, which is pretty much our district, they'll have a lot of, you'll have the Anchor, the Target, and then the Texas Roadhouse. But all the peripheral businesses will go in as well.
Thank you. Next question goes to Mr. Thompson.
Yes, Mr. Thompson. I live in Southwest Fayetteville, so I know I've seen the growth going on out there. So there's always that struggle between what we want to do businesses, but then there's folks like us living there, and, our quality of life. How would you balance the need for growth and new housing with maintaining existing infrastructure and quality of life in neighborhoods?
Great question. Growth is coming. As I got finished saying before, the big businesses and the big boom is coming to the Southwest Fayetteville. A lot of people want to talk about the lack of housing. Well, come to Southwest Fayetteville. We're not building just apartments. We're building neighborhoods. You're looking at almost over 200 houses coming on Graham Road. You're looking at condos coming on Fisher Road. You're looking at apartments coming on Bingham Drive. You're looking at major development that's going to be happening on Strickland Bridge on both sides of Strickland Bridge before you get to Stony Point. You look at all the brand new houses that Gates Ford built on the backside of Dundle Road. Housing is coming. People want to talk about affordable housing. You know how you make affordable housing? By building more houses. You make the market so that there is a plethora of houses, which brings the prices down. And that's what's happening in the southwest side of Fayetteville. So with that, you're going to have roads. With roads, you're going to have sidewalks. What they don't realize is when DOT widens Stony Point Road, this plan is already to build sidewalks all the way from Lakewood Drive all the way to Dundle Drive. Once they get past the bridge, they're going to build sidewalks all the way from Strickland Bridge all the way to Gillis Hill. A lot of people ask me the question, why are they building sidewalks on Gillis Hill Road when there's nothing out there? Because they have a plan for the future. What we want to do is we don't want to do the now. I want to build a future for my kids and for my grandkids 15 and 20 years from now. So we're not talking about the same thing then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Next question.
Same question. How would you balance the need for growth and new housing development with maintaining existing infrastructure and quality of life in neighborhoods?
Thank you very much. I've lived in this neighborhood that I live in currently. I retired from the Army. I'm a retired Green Beret. And I've lived there for 20 years. Been reading you in the paper. I actually moved here in '98. But as the neighborhoods are being built up, most of the neighborhoods are already completed pretty much. We're running out of land. Like I say, District 6 is like the forgotten district. I say it again, we're the forgotten district. We don't really have any parks out where we are. And City Council has been running a lot of problems with the park system with 122 county city parks. We don't even have a park. We have a dog park next to the Bailey Lake Fire Department. I would have liked to have seen a park built. All the neighborhoods are built without parks. There are dead-end subdivisions of 70 houses, and there's no parks. The developers could have left like a couple of lots, $25,000 each, and allowed a little green space with some picnic tables or something like that. But I'm talking about a bigger park. I'm talking about where behind Harris Teeter, that would have been a great place for a park. Or where the Target's going up, that would have been a great place for a park. We do have the Lake Rim Park, but that's not in our district. So you're running out of land in District 6. It's almost full. You have the Gillis properties. We could build a park,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Odegaard. Next question, please.
Let me add, if I may.
Would you like to rebut?
If you look on the right side, well, it depends on which direction you're going. If you look at the area behind Harris Teeter, that's in the county. That's not in the city. If you don't look at recreations, we have a recreation center right there, right next to Jack Britt High School. It's in the county, but it's close enough to the district. We're only talking about maybe a couple of blocks away. We have no justification of telling developers that they have to build a park. What would you rather have, a park? Would you have affordable housing? You choose.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
Can I rebut that?
No, we're moving on.
Excuse me?
We're moving on, sir.
Okay.
Next question. No.
Councilman Thompson, about 2 years ago, you pitched to the city council 4-year terms for city councilmen. Somebody asked you, they said, why are you doing that? You said, because we can. So you had a big turnout about that. And a lot of people in this room, I see some of them, they gave you an emphatic, and the city council, an emphatic no. I agree that it's a two-edged sword. Helps you with projects. Hope Mills, I saw Todd Henderson out there who's running for mayor in Hope Mills. They passed 4-year terms out there. How do you feel about 4-year terms now after that meeting where I never saw that place so full at City Hall?
Well, let me first say that I bring things without any ambiguity. Sometimes I'm just going to do things that are the right thing to do, whether you get the support of it or whether you don't get the support of it. I bring some things to council, and I'm the only person that's voting for it. I stand strong on my conviction on every vote that I make. I still believe that today. As far as we can, that term was probably taken out of context because of what was said upstairs should have been said downstairs, and it wasn't, but that's a different subject. But to answer your question, look around us. When we go to these National League of Cities or we go to any of these meetings, everybody around us has 4-year terms. Look at what the Hope Mills is doing, 4-year terms. Look what Spring Lake is doing, 4-year terms. If I'm not mistaken, we're only 2 cities in the county that don't have 4-year terms. Sometimes we need to ask ourselves why. What it does, it gives us stability. It gives you a group of individuals that all want to move in the same direction to get things done. When you first come on council, you are drinking through a water hose trying to catch up. I guarantee you within the first 9 to 12 months, you're just learning the process. After that, guess what? It's election time again. Now you're worried about getting reelected. 4-year terms is always going to be the way to go, not just for the city of Fayetteville, but I think in every municipality.
Okay, Mr. Odegaard, same question.
The 4-year term. The 4-year term is a no-go. 4-year term allows people to get elected and just sit there and do nothing. They can do nothing and they're stuck there for 4 more years, and the city is stuck with them for 4 more years. Cannot have 4-year terms. It's got to be the 2-year terms that keeps people on their toes. I'll be the guy as a city council member elected from District 6, Kenneth Odegaard, and I will be the council member for truth, logic, and common sense, okay? And then once I can't do that job, I will not run again because 2-year terms are better, okay? Sure, it costs more to run the elections every 2-year cycle, but the 4-year term is an excuse for someone to just sit there and collect a paycheck. Thank you.
Okay. Please follow up.
Can I add one
We'll take
point
30,
to that?
well, we'll take 30 seconds.
Okay.
There's a follow-up question.
I'm just
from
going to
Mr.
ask you
Kirby.
that. I'll ask you about this and see if you agree with it. If you're a good city council person, no matter where, or a good commissioner, if you're a good one, would you agree that if you're a good one, would you not agree that you'll be elected over and over and over again?
Roger.
I'm just glad that you asked that question because this was going to be my rebuttal, and this was the facts that I proposed when I proposed that. Over the last 18 years, listen to me, over the last 18 years, there's only one council person who did not get reelected the first term. So the stats and the data will tell you that they will get reelected. So what's the need for 2-year terms?
Okay. Mr.
Can I
Odegaard,
rebut that?
Take 30 seconds, Mr. Odegaard. Go ahead, take 30 seconds.
Well, very simply, an incumbent has an advantage, an innate advantage. It's known across the country. An incumbent wins. Look at our president, right? The president always has an advantage. Any incumbent, a U.S. senator, they have an advantage. It's an inherent advantage. It doesn't necessarily mean that they did a better job. It just means that the new guy coming out, me, is fighting against somebody who has their name already a little bit in the community. And for those that get things done, like he probably thought he was going to run unopposed, okay? And then steps up me, and I want the job. Thank you.
All right. We have time for one more question for this district. So who wants to go next? Mr. Bowman, this is to you.
All right. Gun control, there's been a lot of publicity about that. A lot of talk about reducing gun violence.
Please.
In all the districts. So what specifics, strategies do you think that you can bring to the table to address that issue?
Is that for me?
Not just
Mr. Odegaard, this is for you.
Not just gun control, but public safety in general.
Public safety is one of the 4 things that I put on my platform of the many. You know, you could come up with 20 different things that you need to run on. Public safety, that's the top. Public safety is the top. At our candidate academy, we learned that there are 80 vacancies in the police department. And they've taken the salary of 33 of those police officers and they've moved the actual money somewhere else and they're spending it elsewhere. That never should have happened. They should hire more police officers and they fixed the salaries. They fixed the salary tier and it's a really good paycheck right now, I think. And it's a great opportunity for your sons and daughters to be police officers in this town. As far as gun violence, there's different kinds of gun violence. If you have a youth who takes a parent's handgun without their knowledge, that's on the parents. So you have to secure your firearms. You can't mandate for families to buy gun safes, but that really is the answer. So you have to encourage gun safe sales or the cable lock that comes with the purchase of every brand new firearm that has to be used, or the 5-finger gun safe that goes under your bed. You just have to secure the weapons. For the stolen weapons, now I had a weapon stolen from my house by a Green
Thank you,
Beret
Mr.
son. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much. But I got it back. The police did a great job. Deputy Brown found my pistol.
Councilman Thompson, your response.
Thank you very much. First, let me say that public safety should always be our number 1 priority. Public safety takes up more than 1/3 of our budget. Our police officers are fortunate that we had a council to give them the highest increase in market rate and step rate pay that they have had probably in the past 10 years. We have hired a new police chief who is doing a great job, Roberto Bryant. And we have also reduced our vacancy rate from 120 some odd vacancies to now we only have 57 vacancies. We are doing everything that we can to make sure that we reduce the gun safety and the gun violence in our community. Most of the gun violence that we have in our community is not random violence. It's because somebody got into an altercation with somebody else that they know. It's hard for you to try to combat that. Only thing that we can do is make sure that we have the mechanisms in place to make sure that those that are doing crime in our city are being properly caught and properly punished. When we want to talk about youth violence, we have put $3.5 million in our Office of Community Safety program with Mr. John Jones, who works directly for our city manager to help us with our youth violence, our mental health, our community safety, and our homelessness. These are the things that we're trying to do to help us so we can reduce some of the violence that we have, along with economic development. A lot of this stuff is, I don't want to say poverty driven, but when you have a job, you don't have to worry about getting in trouble because you got the ends that you need to do the things that you want to, that you don't have to be a perpetrator to somebody else.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, so I think that's 4. Okay.
Can I rebut that?
Did he mention the opponent?
No.
Did you mention your opponent in your
No.
response? No, there's no rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. That
Thank you.
concludes District 6.
Thank you, it was an honor.
District 7, Ms. Kathy Greggs and Mrs. Brenda McNair. Excuse me, Councilwoman McNair has messaged that she is unable to make it, and she did apologize for not being here this evening. So, Mrs. Greggs, Ms.
Hello.
Greggs, good evening. We're going to follow We're going to do 4 questions, but let's keep it to 2 minutes instead of 3. That's, 2 minutes. So 2 minutes each. Gentlemen, when you're ready.
Hang on, Ms. Griggs. We got to decipher this stuff out.
We're going to retool
Okay.
for just for you. Yeah.
Okay. You appeared at every forum.
That is correct. I came to every forum, yes.
I believe that Ms. McNair has not appeared at every forum. And yet, she received 1,017 votes in the primary, and you received 205.
Yeah.
Are you not a little perplexed by that?
I think the people should be perplexed, not me. I mean, we should look at anybody that's running for office to see if they show up, because that's why I'm running. Because I have sent messages to Ms. Councilman McNair several times for the last years I've been living there. And I've been living in that district since 2016, and I have not got a response. So yeah, I'm still waiting.
You got 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to talk more?
Talk some more.
Okay.
That's your question.
Yes. So, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's about what the people want, right? The people show up and vote and use their voice to vote, right? So it's about what the people want. If the people want to continue to live the way they live in a quality life in my district, then they should definitely come out to vote if it's a concern. But if they give me numbers like you got, they may not be too concerned, right? I mean, that's the reality and common sense of it. But we have that option to decide who we want to lead us in our quality of life here in the city of Fayetteville, and they should take advantage of that.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. She beat you by almost 800 votes. That absolutely baffles me.
Well, Billy, are you going to go out there and get me some votes? No, I'm just fine.
I don't campaign for you. I'll write about you. Well, there's a.
I don't know, because you know I am unaffiliated. You may not be able to help me.
Well, let me finish. I read today that there's a forum, I think it's the Fayetteville branch of the NAACP, and I think it's on October the 18th. You plan to be there?
I sure will, Billy.
You expect your opponent to be there?
I don't know, Billy.
Okay.
I can't speak for my opponent. I can only speak for myself. Sorry.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. You said if you're elected to District 7, that you will not accept your $21,422.50 annual salary, nor will you accept the travel stipend of $8,500.
That is correct. I will not accept the salary because I believe in public servancy, and I've been doing it for 14 years already in this community. I served on the city board of commissions already, and I also am trained and certified. And yes, that is true. Why would I take a salary when I believe in public servancy? You know, I am a Christian, and I believe public servancy does not require a salary, and I don't need it. So I'm going to continue to serve with or without this seat. Thank you.
Other than a missing candidate, what do you believe is a major issue in District 7?
They don't show up? Oh, I'm sorry. I got to answer that for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They don't show up is the first thing, because showing up and meeting people where they are is very important. Not where you want to be, but where they are. We have a huge problem. I have gone to many community watch meetings and only 5 people are showing up. Okay. We also have an issue with ADA, accessibility. There's a lot of people here that live in our city that are a part of the blind and the deaf, and they don't show up at the city council meetings because we don't provide those services. That is very important, that accessibility for everybody. No one should be exempt. Okay, I sit on the board of North Carolina disability rights. I'm also partners with them for many years. And we believe that even though we have our city that's giving out so much information and so much businesses, we don't have ADA crosswalks. Okay? ADA crosswalks, not regular crosswalks, ADA. We also don't have it where they can see what's going on in their community, because some people don't want to go to the community watch meeting. They might want to go on a Zoom. We don't have Zooms for them. How will they know what's going on in their city if you're not meeting them where they are? If you're not going to the businesses, if you're not going to go see the youth basketball games, if you're not going to go to that park that everybody goes to on a Saturday, I'm sorry you don't have a park. Whoever don't have a park, I'm sorry, but I know y'all come to my park. District 6 does. But anyway, if they don't show up there and meet people where they are, guess what? You'll never know what the people want. You're not going to know. And the people pay your salary. You don't pay their salary. You're their employee. They're your employer. Let's get it together, okay?
What? Go ahead, Mark.
Good evening, Ms. Greggs. One of the roles I have at the Fayetteville Observer as the opinion editor is to read, publish letters, opinion pieces. And looking over the last year or so, one of the letters I received that received the biggest response, it was only about 3 to 5 sentences long. And I learned a couple things from this letter. One is maybe I should write shorter. But what I really learned from it was how passionate people felt about this issue, just based on the response. And the issue was, it was a very simple question. What is there for youth to do when they get out of high school for that? We touched on youth activity, mainly we focused on youth crime, curfew. But what is the city's role in providing opportunities for youth, and what might some of those opportunities look like?
Well, first, I just want to say that thank you for inviting me. I forgot to say that at the beginning, but anyway, we need to look forward. I know there's a lot of things going on when it comes to Fayetteville Tech with the AI, but we really need to get a handle of how AI is about to look here, okay? A lot of jobs are going to be lost by December 2025. We're talking about 33,000 jobs. So the question would be, how do we make sure the youth want to stay here? It's called sustainability, wages. Right now, we don't have $23 in every place to work. Okay, people are working 2 to 3 jobs just to pay the rent. People are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's just adults. That's not even the youth. So sustainability wages is important. We need to have a penalty system against these businesses that's not paying $23. We need to charge them. We shouldn't even be investing them or allowing them to build unless they are within the means of sustainability for the youth. Then education. Education is very important. My daughter graduated here right at Fayetteville Tech. She's 22 years old. She works on Fort Bragg. So I think we need to teach the youth and let the youth lead in these seats to show us what it looks like. Because guess what? By 2050, it's going to be more senior citizens on earth, and you can Google it, than it is youth. We see it right now. And if we don't give them the baton, we're losing them just by not passing the baton. We are losing them because they don't even trust to come out to vote. 18 to 24, lowest voting turnout. We need to give the youth exactly what they need. And when it comes to youth activities, in my district, we only have a skating rink. We need a bowling alley. We need places for the youth to go to.
Okay.
But we need sidewalks so they'll be safe because we have the highest pedestrian hit and run in District 7.
All right, Mrs. Greggs. Let's go. One more.
Ms. Greggs, a city councilman that you admired was Ted Mon.
Brother.
I knew you'd like this question. He was a good city councilman, and the people in this room who followed his time, they know that. He was studious. He did a lot of maps. I had to look at those maps. I never could follow them. You want to be a city council member. What'd you learn from Ted Bond?
Well, me and Ted Moan actually came up with a blueprint. I believe I talked to you about this already, Billy. But we came up with a blueprint years ago. And what it looked like was he was going to run for mayor. I was going to run for city council. But the purpose of this blueprint is to teach the youth from the ages of 22 on how it looks to run for office, what it looks like being right, and what it's like for the people, by the people, not for yourself, and give them the baton where we wouldn't stay long. We were just going to do one run and then continue to develop the youth, like someone like Tyler back there. I meet with him and his group so I could teach them what politics look like. I'm helping him show him how to get a nonprofit. So this right here, Tyler, stand up. Show him. This guy right here has a farm. He has a garden. This is what you got to do. It's not about me. And Ted Moan and me got together on a blueprint, moving to the future of 2030, by the way, showing AI, smart source interventions, everything else. And also James Thomas. James Thomas was on my board for 5 years. I trained him, me and Sean showed him what it looks like in politics. But I'm just showing you that it's not about us. And Ted Moan is my brother, and I'm going to follow what he said and what he wanted to do. I also asked to do a mural in his name on the fire department that we don't have, that we're supposed to have, but we won't talk about that, right? Okay, so we could do it in his name, a nice mural. I already got it drawn. But yes, that's the purpose, is for us just to teach, coach, and move out the way afterwards.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Gregg. So, welcome Mrs. McNair to the stage, please. She wants to make a dramatic entrance. Here she is, Councilwoman McNair. So go ahead, take a seat. So we did 2 minutes on 3 questions so far. Okay. So Ms. McNair, the rules were generally 1 minute 30 for your response and 1:30 for rebuttal. We're going to go ahead. What do you guys think is fair? 1:30? Same thing? Okay. All right. We're going to give you 3 questions with a minute 30 and 30-second rebuttal from your opponent. Are you ready? You all set? I'm sorry.
Welcome, Ms. McNair. The question I had asked your opponent, Ms. Greggs, involved youth, specifically what activity, well, the problem that I've heard expressed, particularly in a letter that came into the Fayetteville Observer, is that there were no activities or not enough activities for youth to do after school. I got a big community response to that letter. From where you sit, what can the city do to provide positive activities for youth, I'm speaking teenagers, high schoolers, to do so they can stay out of trouble and be productive?
First of all, how y'all doing? I'm doing well. I apologize for being late. However, that question, it just takes me back to the programs that we already have available, that we work very hard as a council to put in place, especially with our rec centers. I can truly say that my grandson every year has something to do. And then not only that, our OCS department has already started a program for our youth. And to say that we don't have any programs, anything for our youth, I mean, that is far from the truth. And I don't believe that. And we'll continue as a council to add to the programs so that our youth will stay out of trouble. And I don't see a real big problem with that. So the problem that I do see is getting our parents well informed about what is available. And I like the fact that we have everything listed on our website. And, you know, even last night, I was a little excited about our staff that presented everything that we have available.
Thank you, Councilwoman McNair. Thank you. Next question, please.
Ms. McNair, during your tenure in District 7, what would you say have been the three major accomplishments during this term?
For me, you mean? Okay. First of all, I was very intentional about connecting with my constituents in my district because I knew that there was root causes, and one was a disconnect to the representative of District 7. And so what I did was, because upon campaigning, I realized that the citizens needed to have the information to become more informed and more empowered. And because without information, there's a lot of things that we can't do as a district. And so I intentionally connected myself with our leaders, our faith-based leaders in the community, and also our HOA leaders, our community watch leaders, our school system. I intentionally, this was on an everyday basis because, you know, I have to be careful what I say because I don't want to come back and bite me.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
I was just gonna say, I just felt like my district was not informed
Thank you, Councilwoman.
about what it is that the city
I'm gonna
does
give,
and has to
I'm going to
offer.
give your opponent a minute 30 for rebuttal.
Yes.
So please go ahead. And
Well, I
can you
just wanna
restate
make-
the question, please, gentlemen?
Oh, I understood the question.
Okay.
I don't need to repeat
Go right
it
ahead.
because I pay attention. So I've been doing that for many years, even in the Army. Huh? But anyway, let's get back to it. So I'm still waiting on an email, like I said earlier, a respond. So when we're talking about being informed, I'm still not informed. And there's a lot of people in my district that is not informed. And we have a lot of churches in the district that don't even know how to really look at the website. The website is confusing. Okay, it takes you 5 pages just to look at the community watch. And some of those community watches that I went to was canceled, but it wasn't on a website. So let's be clear about that part. That's why I'm trying to bring in Civic Plus, because it's a real-time website. So if someone in a department deletes something or the event is not there, it'll automatically show it's canceled. You won't show up. But there's several events I went to in our district, and one of them was OCS Youth Night. When I went there, there was only 12 kids. And I was talking to the Liberty basketball team because they were playing basketball. They wasn't, intersecting. But for OCS, I would definitely look at the data and the assessment of us putting $5 million into it. Because if it's doing youth programs, we need to have the youth present. Okay? And they wasn't, because I've been to 3 of them. So we need to objectively assess how much money we put in there, which was $5 million. It started off with $2.5 million. They added additional $2 million to it. But yet when I went, it was only 10 kids there and the parents wasn't there. And pizza was delivered at 9:00, which is a little late.
Thank you,
I'm
Ms.
just-
Greggs. Okay, one more question, 1 minute each, and then we're going to go to District 8 because we're going to fall behind here. So gentlemen, one last question, 1 minute each person.
Councilwoman McNair, how many forums have you been invited to this election season?
I plead fifth.
You plead the fifth?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
How many? I'm going to ask the question again.
Okay.
How many?
This is my first one.
How many have you been invited to?
Maybe 3.
You plan to be at the Fayetteville branch of the NAACP forum? It's this Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Okay. Same question, Ms. Greggs. How many?
I've been
many
at
forums?
all the forums.
How many would that be?
It was about 6. And I was invited to all of them by email. So I think everybody got it because I seen all the candidates there. It could be me, but yeah.
All right, ladies, thank you for your time. Councilwoman
Thank you.
McNair, thank you for being here. Ms. Greggs, thank you for being here. District 8, Mr. Rodney Garvin and Sean McMillan, please. Okay, so and
Check,
let's go
check.
to-
Hello?
All right, gentlemen, you ready? We're good. First question is going to go to Mr. Garvin.
Okay, welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for coming out this evening. You two are running for open seat, in District 8. The current council member, Courtney Banks McLaughlin, is coming off council, and she was a big advocate is a big advocate for dealing with gun violence, having been personally affected by that in her life. So my first question is about gun violence. What specific strategies, Mr. Garvin, will you implement to reduce gun violence and enhance public safety in Fayetteville?
Thank you for allowing me to be here. When it comes to that question, I think that the only way to really improve the gun violence issues that we're having is to increase the laws, change the laws, create different ways to make sure that firearms are secured, make sure there's a better vetting process before someone is able to actually acquire a firearm. In addition to that, when you look at the police officers, we also need to make sure we have more than enough police officers. We need to increase that number so that we're able to make sure we have someone to protect those in the home so weapons aren't needed nearly as much. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McMillan, same question. What specific strategies would you implement to reduce gun violence and enhance public safety in the city of Fayetteville?
Yeah, I'd like to echo thanks as well for the invitation to come here. Good evening, everybody. I want to add to what Rodney said. I think that we have to go beyond just changing laws, go beyond just funding police. We're going to do that. If you look at our history as a city, we've done that. I think there's been something like a 23% increase in police spending over the last several years. So that's already happening. I think what's missing is a more holistic approach to what community safety is. You've heard in this room tonight, I think we all agreed, all of the candidates for District 8, that much of this goes back to root causes. We live in a city where generational poverty is a fact. It's a fact that's often denied and ignored. We apply pressure and dollars and funds to the outcomes of generational poverty, thinking that the problem's going to go away, and we leave the answer just at that. Specifically, I would apply more resources into looking at what generational or income mobility looks like, where we bring people out of economic poverty, generational poverty. I would apply resources to something like the OCS, the Office of Community Safety. It's $2.5 million, but realize that's just 0.3% of what we give to the police every year. So there's a lot more that we could do in a holistic way to approach what community safety is, and that's what I plan to do in office.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan. Next question will go to Mr. McMillan, so whoever wants to go first.
Mr. McMillan, I've watched you over the years at city council forums, public speaking forums. You're incredibly articulate. You're very passionate about holding the Fayetteville Police Department accountable. You expect them to be transparent. And this is a question that from the chamber, but it's a good question. So how would you support and expand mental health co-response and community-based violence interruption programs with the Office of Community Safety?
This is a great question. I was just speaking to two of my colleagues last night after the city council meeting about this. When the community and many people in this room came with the idea of the community safety, and I should mention also got support from the council in pushing this through and making a policy, it was fueled by, in many ways, the death of Jada Johnson and our reaction as a community to losing Jada Johnson. So a young woman
who was shot 17 times by the FPD. When you peel back the onion and looked at her story, she was in mental health crisis very clearly, had reached out for help. And as a city, we didn't have adequate response to her and her crisis. It's thought by her family and by many of us that could have been avoided if we had more in our toolbox than just the police to respond to her. We had something that looked like wraparound services, and we had a response force that looked something like the Durham Hearts model of a mental health crisis response, where you have a mental health professional that responds along with peer support specialists. And in that way, or having that in our toolkit, we really do think that we can avoid unnecessary loss of life and take care of each other. We also, I've heard very recently talk about loss of a mental health facility in the area and how that is a goal for the county and the city.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan.
And so
Thank
that's
you,
a little
sir.
bit.
Mr. Garvin.
So when it comes to mental health, I think it's something that, piggybacking off of Mr. McMillan, I think that's something that's very important. We have to look at how the state of this world has affected the ability for many people. I mean, when you have an interaction with a lot of people, very simple things and someone's automatically irritated. So it's showing that with different programs like OCS, which is a program that is supposed to help with those be that the intermediary in between the police and whatever the situation is, we still have to focus on the fact that it's not as strong as it needs to be yet. We still have that opportunity there to increase the ability for our citizens to feel that there's a safe place for them to get the help that they need, and before the police are involved in those situations. The way that I see OCS, or the things that I've looked at into this program, they want to be that intermediary that you call them before you call the police, which I think is something that we can all, use that within our lives, but we have to make sure that that program has the necessary funding, the necessary training, as well as the police officers need to be trained the same way. We can't expect that this program is the only ones that's going to be able to make sure that mental health situations are accounted for. We also have to look at the police officers. Those are the people that see you in your worst time of your life, with numerous things that can happen. So if they're not sensitive, as well as we don't have the OCS program running, we'll never be able to actually adjust to the needs of our community. So we will we'll actually have more loss of life.
Thank you, Mr. Garvin. We have two more questions in this district. The next one, let's give it to Mr. McMillan.
Okay, Mr. McMillan, you've already stated that you're an advocate for transparency in government and accountability. How do you intend to keep the citizens informed of what's happening in City Hall?
That's a good question. I think almost everybody has spoken to this in some way, and I see it done different ways in different districts. But how do you maintain a connection after the election? I agree with what James talked about with canvassing only happening, for the most part, when you're running for election. Community meetings, it's the same way for a lot of people. What I'm hearing from my neighbors is really what I hear from what I sense from the whole nation is we're all looking at what disconnection means to us in these times, which for many of us are troubling. And we're wondering what's going to happen to us as individuals in the solitude of that disconnection. And I appreciate the efforts that have been made by other council members, even by Courtney Banks McLaughlin in the past, to bring folks in on a regular basis. I've started that even during the campaign. I've had McMillan Mondays, 3 different occasions where we've opened up Shea Marie's event space just to hear from our fellow neighbors about what's important to them. And I plan to do that and throughout my term, just bring people together regularly. Also believe in flattening communications. That's a military term. But what you need to do to make sure that what I know, everybody in my space knows. And I think there's more that can be done with social media, with websites to flatten communications so that everybody in the district understands that there are some resources, especially for youth, that you might not know about.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan.
Because we haven't communicated it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Garvin, your response.
Hello? So I believe that transparency is key. Ultimately, there's a lot of things that go on in this community that a lot of people, citizens, do not know about. Many times, we find out about a certain meeting or an organization or any number of things, but we find out at the last minute. We really don't do a great job of communication when it comes to making different decisions in the city. We had a dump in our district that they took out. Many people didn't want to lose it. However, no one was informed that they were going to get rid of this dump. So I believe, transparency is the most important. Just talking to your constituents, talking to people in your community. Many kids I've spoken to, or rather just younger adults, they don't even believe in voting. They don't believe in voting for the simple fact they feel that their voices are being heard. We're not taking the time to actually talk to them, find out what their needs are and how we can bring that to the city. So I feel that, transparency is the main reason that I'm here. There's a lot of things that go on in our city that many people don't know about. I didn't learn about a certain program until a couple of weeks ago. Now, this program is supposed to be something that is supposed to make a change for Fayetteville. Why is it that it's something that's not talked about enough? So I feel that, now and going forward, transparency is key. Every person in this room should be reaching out to each other. It's not really me against him or him against me. It's against us as a community working together. And I feel that until we can do that, we'll never reach the goals that we can possibly attain.
Thank you, sir. One last question for this group goes to Mr. Garvin.
Well, here, I'll ask it. Is this for Mr. Garvin? I wanted to ask this of,
Mr. Garvin. Well, it's supposed to go to Mr. Garvin.
well, you can both answer it. Sean, have you reached out to the new police chief? You can answer this too, Mr. Garvin. Have you reached out to the new police chief and how you demand transparency and accountability?
Can I take a minute and a half just to address this?
Well, I don't want to take what Mr. Garvin's time, and I want to make sure that
You're
he
each
gets
going to
the
get
same equal
1:30.
time.
You each get a minute 30.
Right on.
Go ahead.
So I have not reached out to the new police chief. I think we all met him at the candidates training that was sponsored by Greater Fayetteville Chamber. I heard from him, and he actually came up to me last night and said a word, which I appreciated. I feel like the relationship is important. I'm looking for more from this police chief than I've seen from prior police chiefs. I'm looking for more accountability and leadership. I know that he has expressed the bad image that the Fayetteville Police Department has in terms of that being something that is stopping them from recruiting. And I think we have to look beyond our image. We have to look at substance. I mentioned Jada Johnson. In our area where we live, there's plenty of classmates of Jason Walker. And I'm meeting people who understand the past between the community and the police and understand that there's a need for accountability on a larger scale and transparency on a larger scale. That quite frankly, I'm looking for this police chief and all leaders, especially elected officials, to make sure it's guaranteed to our people. They deserve that. So I'm looking forward to engaging the police chief, but also in him stepping up in terms of repairing what is broken, in terms of addressing the past in ways that are real and more than just the surface.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan. Mr. Garvin.
So unfortunately, I have not met the new police chief yet. However, it's on the list of the things that I would like to do. I feel that similar to what Mr. McMillan was saying, there's a lot of stains on how people look at the police department and not realizing the things that are happening within the police department. Many of those officers that I've spoken to have told me that they are working 12-hour shifts, supposed to work 10-hour shifts. So they're being overworked. They are unable to take their days off, which I know any person in this room, if you have time off that you need for something, a family emergency, you'd like to be there, or just a family get together. You can't go because you're busy protecting the people in the city. So with that happening, he does have a large hill in front of him, but however, like I was saying before, it's going to take community. We all have to work together. We have to make sure that when we speak to the new police chief, that we give him our expectations as well as he gives us his, and we have to work together in order to achieve those.
Thank you, sir. All right, that's 4. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Upcoming District 9, Mr. Dino Hondros and Mr. Joe McGee, please.
One.
Okay, first question to Mr. Hondros.
Mr. Hondros, as a businessman, I know you are already very involved in the chamber. And this question does come from the chamber, and that is, how do you think that your position on the city council can enhance the business community and increase the communications between organizations like the Chamber of Commerce and small businesses in Fayetteville?
Thank you for that question. Thank you to FTCC and the Chamber for putting this event on, and all the sponsors and moderators. Government can't do it all alone, so we lean on the Chamber. We partner with the Chamber. We partner with other organizations, FCEDC for industry. It's just being members of the Chamber, being at those events, being out in the community. That's typically where we meet the small business owner and business owners of all size.
Mr. McGee, same question.
Please ask a question, yes, sir.
This is coming from the Chamber of Commerce. Coming from the Chamber of Commerce, and they would like to know what you would do to enhance the relationship and the communication between the Chamber and other business organizations with the City Council.
First of all, my name is Joe McGee, running for Fayetteville City Council, District 9. So what needs to happen, in my opinion, would be simple to upgrade the communication. From my opinion, and I'll keep it that way, there's different levels of businesses. You have, we'll call top tier, you have small businesses, you have small businesses. And many times businesses in the community have felt like the chamber wasn't talking to them because they wasn't at a certain tier. So therefore, a mark was missed because they didn't feel like they were that premium type of business. So to the question is for the chamber to make it open to all businesses and invite them. If you go to a chamber meeting, you don't see the common business, you see certain tiers of business. So it'd be one, opening it, making it fair for, or making it welcome for all business to say, we want you to be here.
Next question goes directly to Mr. McGee.
Mr. McGee, Councilman Hondros is a likable councilman. Why'd you decide to run against him?
That's your question. I'm not running against him. I'm running for the people in District 9. So let me get that clear. He just happens to be the person in the seat, and he is a nice guy. He when he met me, he said he worked at Captain Jerry's for years, and so he probably served some fish and seafood to me and my family over the years. But to the question of what I think you're trying to ask is, why am I running? Well, the joke I tell, it's my son's second year at a college. He's at a Central up in Durham, and so I think he's going to stay. He's second year. There's no one at the house. He's the last one at the house to argue it, so I ain't got nobody to argue it. So I figured I'd join the council because there's plenty of stuff to argue about here. But to be serious, I grew up in District 9 in Loch Lomond. I currently live in Water's Edge. And when I say I walked every street, I mean I literally walked every street. I know the neighbors. I know a lot of folk who are new to the neighborhood and a lot of folk who are still there and getting older. I want to be a part of common sense change. So it has nothing to do with Mr. Hondros. It's about the people in District 9 that said, Joe, will you show up like you've always showed up? And the answer was yes.
Amen.
Mr. Hondros,
Good
would you
answer.
like to rebut?
I've met Mr. McGee. I had the pleasure of meeting him on these candidate forums and on the campaign trail. Also a likable guy. And I think he's exactly right. From my first campaign in 2022, second campaign in 23, and this campaign, it's never about the opponent. We're neighbors. I never viewed my opponents as enemies. They're neighbors. I don't foresee Mr. McGee selling his home and moving if he's not successful. I'm certainly not going to do that. So it's about serving our community, and it's not necessarily that we don't like each other. But when you decide to serve, and he's been serving for a long time, when I decided to serve, I've been serving for a long time. It just so happens we have to serve, we have to run in our district and serve. And I was the unfortunate opponent for Mr. McGee.
Thank you.
So what are the pressing issues in district? in District 9? The pressing issues.
Let's go to Mr. Hondos
Either way.
first.
So I think District 9 is not unique to some of the needs, the majority of the needs in the rest of the city. I think our priority is public safety, attainable housing for all, and infrastructure. So in the way of public safety, again, it's been already mentioned this evening. We were down over 100 police officers. Councils, the two councils I've had the pleasure of serving on, made a concerted effort to invest in the police pay to get the step plan back the way it's supposed to be, raise the base salaries, as well as try to solve the compression so we can make a positive impact. We went from 100+ vacancies in the police department to about 53, I think it is today. It changes every week. In addition to that, we wanted to take a more holistic approach, so we did have a consensus and stand up the OCS, the Office of Community Safety, because the PD, shot spotter, the curfew, those are always things that are reactive. So we have to do things that are proactive, try to get some conflict resolution, youth programming to try to stop the crimes from happening in the first place. We have to give the youth positive alternatives. In the way of housing, we need to streamline processes and procedures, permitting and inspection. We have to look at our development and redevelopment ordinances and streamline them, get rid of some bureaucratic layers that allow us to bring units to the market faster while protecting our environment and our neighborhoods. And then when
Thank you,
time's up,
Councilman.
I'll talk about infrastructure later.
Mr. McGee, same question. Issues in district.
One, for District 9, let me make it short and clear. What part of District 9? Because District 9 starts from Sky Drive to Summertime Apartments on Raleigh Road, and they don't have the same issues. So they don't have the same concerns or wants. Devonwood, which is on the side of the lake for me, we share the same lake, Loch Lomond Lake, there's no water. So they're not concerned about sidewalks, they're concerned about putting water back in their lake, okay? Sky Drive, you got Morganton Road and Fort Bragg Road on the other side. They're concerned about folk drag stripping or just racing late at night. So I guess my question is back to the question, what part of District 9 are you talking about, sir?
Well, I thought I was talking about all of it, but you're absolutely correct. You make a very good point. What's happening out toward Loch Lomond is nothing what's happening along Sky Drive. And you're absolutely right about the traffic along Morganton Road.
All right, we have time for one more question. District 9, it goes directly to Mr. McGee. Gentlemen.
Good evening, gentlemen. I know both these gentlemen, and you're both extremely likable. But what I want to underscore, though, that's been said, is that by the time the vast majority of folks wind up on a stage like this, they've already served their community in many, many ways. So I always applaud people who throw their hat in the ring. And really what's really motivating them, there is a salary, but you're not going to get rich off it. What's really motivating people who run for these offices is they care about their community. So I just want to put that out there. One thing that does cut across district, one issue that cuts across District 9 and really the whole city, and we've touched on this a couple times this evening, is the issue of there's a lot of economic uncertainty, and there's a lot of people who would be in the lower moderate income bracket, and they're trying to reach that next rung on the ladder. And that often comes through a new or better paying job. We also heard that there are a lot of small businesses coming to Fayetteville, setting up shop. So we know they're going to need employees. We know there are people who need work. So my question is, what kind of programs would you recommend or that already exist that you can tell us about that assist workers in overcoming those barriers to employment and advance into better paying positions? Start for Mr. McGee.
Well, we're in one institution right now, and I would hope that they're doing their part to make people job ready. We have Fayetteville State, we have Methodist College. So the question again is, what are they producing? And if they are producing those candidates for good jobs, do we have the good jobs here? ready for them to take before they go to Raleigh or Charlotte or some other area to get the type of work that they probably qualified for, and they don't have the jobs here.
Mr. Hodges?
Thank you. Excellent question. Mayor Colvin actually stood up a committee, the Next Gen Workforce Committee, which brings in partners because, again, government can't do it all alone. So it's Cumberland County Schools, it's Fayetteville Tech, it's Fayetteville State, it's Methodist, it's all the partners together, because a lot of these high-paying jobs, quite frankly, the average resident may not be trained for it or have the certification for it. So it's not necessarily about degrees, but it's about getting certified to do those different tasks. And once we get our labor force ready, those jobs will come. I think the government's role is providing or facilitating an environment where these industries want to come to Fayetteville. They feel invited to come, and then the workforce through the partnerships are trained and ready to provide the services that they're needing, the employment that they're needing.
Thank you.
All right. That's our 4. Thank you, District 9.
Well, I had one question.
I'm sorry?
To the up and coming. I submitted my information to be in the up and coming, and it didn't make it. So can I resubmit that and catch the next publication, sir?
You can resubmit anything you want at any time.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, thank you. Now, we've all been waiting for the mayoral candidates, Mrs. Kathy Jensen and Mr. Mitch Colvin, to the stage. Okay, 4 questions, and we're just going to say ladies go first. So, Mrs. Jensen, you get the first one.
All right, Ms. Jensen. This is Mayor Pro Tem. So I know, and I think many people in this room know that you've wanted to be the mayor of this city. You said you wouldn't run against Mayor Colvin, but you filed, then he filed. What kind of wrench has he thrown in your plans? People keep asking if you can beat him.
Anybody can be beat.
Next.
So would you like me to go on with the?
You've got 1:30.
Okay, so first of all, thank you to FTCC and the Greater Fayetteville Chamber for having this, and welcome everyone. So we'll get the elephant out of the room. We have served together for 12 years. We've done a lot of great things. We've had conversations. This was nothing new. First of all, fun fact, never wanted to be in politics. Came in from a family that had politicians. I ran from it. I got upset with something that happened in my neighborhood at a city council meeting, saw the way things were going, and said, I'm going to run for city council. And I did, and I won, and I realized I liked it. I decided as we went through this path, and I was the mayor pro tem, and we went through 2020, I said, you know what? I can do this. I can do this job. I love Fayetteville. I have worked for this job. I have sat on every board, every commission, got myself embedded on tables that we have never been at in the city of Fayetteville to make us grow. I believe in this city. Now, did it throw a wrench in when he decided to run? Yes. We had conversations. I did not want to run against Mitch Colvin. Not that I'm afraid, but he and I worked together, and it was not in my plan. But like everything else in life, stuff happens. I pivoted, and I'm not giving up, and everybody is beatable.
Thank you. Question for Mayor Colvin.
Well, Mayor, You did throw a wrench out there and you surprised a lot of people in the last 30 minutes of filing at Fountainhead Lane. Why don't you tell us again? I know you've told me, and I know that you've told media and you've told others. You said you weren't going to run for a 5th term, and there you were. You were back, and people were stunned, and we had a 10-person race for mayor. Now it's down to 2. Why'd you do it?
Thank you. Thank you to the chamber. Thank you for hosting this, and thank you for the question. Good to see you, Mayor Pro Tem. You know, I think any of us that do this work have to love the city. We have to love this community because we sacrifice a lot. Our families allow us to do a process that's open to scrutiny. Your personal lives are in a bowl, in a bubble, and a lot of people avoid this work. But the people who push through and do it love this city. So the bottom line is I love Fayetteville, North Carolina. It is home to me. And I feel just as all of us, that I always want to do what's in the best interest of my family, but also what's in the best interest of the city. And so when I made a conscious decision, it was after the announcement of both Councilmember Benavente, who announced early in the year around March or April, and Mayor Pro Tem, who said quite honestly and transparently that, you know, hey, I'm turning 60 years old. I'm going to do this. And, you know, we had conversations and I had not made a decision up until the point that I did. In fact, it was a running joke every week on the radio that, you know, are you running for mayor? And I said, I'll know until I don't know. And that was the truth. And I really sought a great answer about what was best for this community. So when I made that decision, a number of things had not happened yet. Chef Wright, who I dealt with for the last 8 years or 10 years.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir. We're at 1:30. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to make a rebuttal? 30 seconds.
So I will say that many conversations were made. I had the opportunity to be on part of the North Carolina League of Municipalities, had the opportunity to be the president. We had the conversation, and I chose not to do that because I was running for mayor and I wanted everything to be put into the city of Fayetteville. So I will leave it at that.
Thank you. Next question.
My question is about accountability, and I'm going to ask the question to the mayor. The same question has been asked me over and over again, and that is that who is being held responsible for some of the decisions being made at City Hall? In the particular case of the contractor who was given 3 specific projects, Rose Hill Road, the tennis courts, and another one on the firehouse on Bragg Boulevard, a contractor who walked away from the job, letting the city hold the bag, and had a bonding company that was a bogus bonding company. And I know we sued them and we got a grant for $232,000. But how can those type of decisions be made? And who's responsible for them and who's being held accountable for them?
So that's a great question. And it's been a lot of false narratives out there as if the process involves the council making a specific selection about a specific person and going through those things. The day-to-day operations are ran by one of the 2 people who work for the city council, city manager and the city attorney. The city attorney who was over that in that particular case is no longer here. So the current one that we have was not the attorney that was supposed to check legal information. And then the city manager was in charge of the day-to-day. And of course, any accountability, at the end of the day, the people at the top have to explain it. We have to take account, we have to be held accountable for it. But the day-to-day operations were in the manager. And I am of the opinion that he should have been held accountable, that there should have been consequences. And I don't know that we share that same perspective. So, but I think at the end of the day, that those specific tasks were his and his staff that works for him.
Mayor Pro Tem, 1:30.
So everything that is needed to be said is said here, and I do agree that the only people that the city council is in charge of is the city manager and the city attorney. So if you go back and you look through everything that was there, that was through the city manager and the city attorney. The city council never saw that RFP. They never saw any of that. They are not responsible. But what we have done is we have gone and we are rectifying all those questions. It is a very unfortunate thing that happened, but I will say it, and I don't mean this in any disrespect for anything. If you do nothing, you have no problems. We are moving and trying to make the city a better place. That is no excuse of what happened, but we have learned from it and putting policies in place.
I have a follow-up. Does the city have a bond attorney? All right, that's one question. The other question is, I know that we won a judgment of $232,000 against that contractor, of which he has not paid. Now taxes and penalties has it up to $266,000. Is anybody going to be held responsible for seeing that comes through? Because honestly, $232,000 for walking off of 3 projects and letting us hold the bag sounds like an awful small sum of money.
Okay, so I'm going to consider that a follow-up to the first, so just take 1 minute each to respond.
Okay, I'll hit it quickly. First of all, the good thing about it is, if there's a silver lining to that, is that he did not receive money for work that was not in place. So when you make a request to draw, it's verified that the work was done, and that's why the amount of money, even though those were large projects, was capped at the 200,000+ that you mentioned. I think your original question was
About the bond attorney.
Yeah, so you've got an attorney for issuing debt, which is a bond, which we do have bond counsel for that. And then you have the attorney's office who's supposed to check and verify that the bonds that someone presents us are legitimate and they actually have signed. And that particular bond was signed by an attorney to say, I have verified this. And so those are the kind of things that I'm saying operationally should have been some accountability. If we have to give an account to the citizens, then the people who work for us should be held accountable. And I was of that
That's the
opinion.
second time you said should have been. So still no.
Well, it takes 6 votes, Bill.
Okay.
It takes 6
Gentlemen,
votes.
Gentlemen. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, can you give us in a minute a rebuttal or follow up?
Yes, I mean, I can give you a rebuttal. What I can say is, yes, an attorney did sign that there was a bond. That attorney is no longer with us. But I will say that the projects that he walked off on are getting finished. We are making sure that things are getting finished and it didn't hold us back. So most of the sidewalks are done. The tennis center will be doing its ribbon cutting in the next month in November. So we are moving with the progress on these things. We did not let it just sit.
Thank you. Next question goes to Mayor Colvin.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for coming out, participating. The 911 call center, combined call center, city, county, it just goes right to the heart of public safety. We've been talking about this for a while as a community. 3 times it was attempted, 3 times it didn't work out. Now there's a current effort to do this joint emergency call center 911. First question is, do you think it's a good thing? And second question is, are we over the hump? Will it pass this time? I'll start with you, Mayor.
So, I'd have to take hats off to Commissioner Deviere, who we spoke, and made a conscious effort to say that we would set up a joint process between the city and the county professional staffs to talk about this so that we could get this done. Our community needs this joint operation. Collaboration, I believe, is what sets me apart from in this particular race, because I'm building those relationships with the county and the city and the school board and others to make sure that our tax dollars go further and our processes are seamless. I do think that we can put the most professional staff in place, put a governance process, but in order to collaborate, we have to not only just talk about it, we have to actually live it and do it and not worry about who gets the credit and who's in charge. And so I think we can get this done. It makes sense for the taxpayers not to pay twice out of the right and left pocket for a service, but we have to get off of our high horse about who's in charge and who runs it. And I think we're getting there. We received a presentation the other day from Chief Freddie Johnson, well-respected. Lisa, who runs our 911, is all in. And now this will come down to political will to either allow the county to run it at the highest level processes or allow the city to run it at the highest level processes. But this community needs that for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Same question, Ms. Hanson.
Yeah, so I do believe that collaboration is the way that we do need to go. I do want to say, though, when we talk about paying out the left side of your pocket and the right side of your pocket, that's not going to change, because the way it is set up, it is 50% county, 50% the city. But that's not an issue. That is not an issue. That is money that we are saving lives with. Where my opponent and I are differing on some things, yes, it does need to be collaborative. There was always the holdup of who is going to run it. We have been told by our chief of police and our chief of fire that it will be detrimental to our residents of the city if we are not in charge. But I will go back and say we came back to the table again and started talking and talked about forming a committee. And that is moving forward now of how we're going to put that committee up. One of the things that I have an issue with is that I do not believe that elected officials need to be in charge of whether you're going to get your 911 call in 8 minutes or in 30 minutes. It needs to be professionals on this committee that run.
30
So
seconds.
since my
30
opponent
seconds.
was used, do
Go
I have
ahead.
time to further?
30 seconds.
If you have to build 2 buildings, there's an additional cost. One that the county's paying, left pocket, one that the city's paying, right pocket. So there will be additional costs and there'll be additional savings if it's consolidated and done properly. That's the hope. The other thing is that I don't think when you call 911, anyone cares if it's a city response or a county response. And then we talked tonight, you heard our OCS mentioned several times tonight, it has mental health. The city doesn't have the infrastructure to do mental health. The county is better equipped for those things. So this needs to be consolidated so that it's seamless.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to rebut the rebuttal?
Yes. So number one, the county facilities that they have right now are not big enough for us. We're going to have to rebuild. We have got an RFP out right now to look at it, that we can build a building that everybody can be in, and that can be a secondary. I do agree it needs to be consolidated. We do need to have OCS in there, but we need to cross our T's and dot our I's. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Next question to Mayor Pro Tem.
You want to talk about the Market House?
Sure.
We're repurposing the Market House. The focus is to tell the story accurately. Some people still believe it is a symbol of racism in this community, but it sits right there in the middle of downtown. How do you foresee the story being told accurately?
So as you asked me that question, I think that it can be told accurately, but it can't be told accurately by just a small group of people. It needs to be a whole group of people. And, let me go back. This is kind of a sensitive area, especially during 2020 and when everything happened. I'm glad that human relations got in and we did, as a city, came together to decide what to do with the Market House. I believe that it needs to be, to tell the story the way it needs to be told. I don't think that we're doing the Civil War Reconstruction Museum. We're looking at the Black Voices Museum. With all that talent with everybody, we need to tell the story. And I can say it, and everybody that's on my team say I shouldn't say this. What a perfect story sitting right here to my right. It is a great story. We had those conversations in 2020. And I will say to you, you know, in my culture, we want everybody to know everything about us. We want the good, the bad, the ugly, and we still think that we are the strongest people there is. That is how I want people when they go into the market house and the story is told. I want people to be proud, not what happened to them, but where they've come. Thank you.
Mayor? Well, you know, as a mayor who had to lead through that, it took a steady hand. It took a lot of prayer, and it took, you know, a lot of wisdom, and it took relatability. It took to be able to make decisions that were from the point of view of African Americans, which I had a great perspective of that, but also had to listen to the other part of the community that I represent that wanted to preserve it. And so I think we found a balance, but it took a steady hand of leadership. Tough decisions will have to be made in this job that you just don't have the answers to. And you have to be able to see it from all points of view and from all perspectives, regardless of socioeconomics, regardless of education, regardless of what part of town or zip code you live in. You have to be everybody's mayor. And it was because of that steady hand and those kind of things that I believed it was more important than ever that we had consistency and continuity at this moment. And so that goes back to your original question. I think that we will need to tell the story, but we're in a situation where on the federal level, stories are wanting to not be told. And so how do we balance that on our local level? So we have to make sure that the decisions we make are representative of the full community. And that's what I've done, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Thank you very much. So in the interest of time, we're a little over 8 o'clock. We're going to have one other question for the mayoral race, and we're going to wrap it up.
Mayor, I'll start with you, and include you as well, Mayor Pro Tem. So you got 22 days until this election ends, and we've asked a lot of questions of a lot of candidates tonight. When I interview people, I always leave them with this question, and I'm going to leave it with the both of you. And I think Bill agrees, and Myron will agree. Myron has to agree. I hired him a long time ago. What haven't we asked you that you might want to tell us? Anything you wish to, what we haven't asked you?
Well, I appreciate what you have asked, because you all have asked some very interesting questions, but I wanted to talk more about our plan. You know, it's good to talk about the past. It's good to talk about what we've done and pat ourselves on the back, but I wanted to tell about our plan. And I think that will be a distinguishing factor between us. My plan is to continue to build this community. When I took over, we didn't really have an identity. It was Fayetteville is blank, but Raleigh is research and tech and medicine. Charlotte is fintech, but we really didn't fill in the blank. I want to continue to grow our identity. We're taking pride now in our brand, and we've gone from Vietnam to Can Do. But let's build out our cyber, our tech, our healthcare, and let's work together to build a plan to put people to work in this community. The kids can graduate, whether you're from Murchison Road or Haymont Hill. You can stay here and go to Methodist College and the new medical school. You can come and do your residence at Cape Fear Valley, or you can become a cyber trained tech here at FTCC and graduating to a $70,000 or $80,000 job that keeps us here. We all want our kids and our grandkids to return to this community, and I want to articulate a plan that talks about that's what I plan to do and would like to do as we move our city forward.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, 1 minute 30.
Thank you. So when we talk about plan, my plan has really never changed, and especially in the past 10 years. My plan is similar. I want my children, your children, to come back home. I want our children to have a great high school, a great public education, a great education. Go fly, learn about life. If they want to stay here at Methodist, go to FTCC, go to FSU. We have great universities here. But I don't want them to feel that they're less than anything by staying in Fayetteville. And we're seeing that. Fun fact about Fayetteville, 13 years ago, we had 145,000 voters. Today, we have 133,000 voters. We are not growing. Everybody around us is growing. People are leaving. Our children are not coming back, so our elderly are going to live with their children. I see that in housing, attainable housing. I see that in growth. And a lot of it is our restrictions that we've done with the UDO. And I can say that we have come together and learned the mistakes that we have made. You look at Raleigh, you look at Cary, you see 5, 6-story buildings because they get more density when they put in attainable housing. 20% of their apartments are rent controlled and things
Thank
like
you, Mayor
that.
Pro
We have
Tem.
to think outside of the box.
Thank you. And to our audience, please stay seated. That concludes the mayoral race. I do have a couple of announcements, though, before I let my esteemed guest go. Next Thursday at Segra Stadium, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting the Carolina Rock and Boil. You can get tickets on faybiz.com. And something y'all might not know is that we have now been selected as the site for the National Civics Bee that every 6th, 7th, and 8th grader can enter. And that's a huge deal for us. I want to say thank you to Fayetteville Tech and media partners for being here tonight. That concludes our forum. I hope that your citizens are watching online or here have found it helpful and able to inform your next decision about who you will and will not vote for. Thank you.
Job done.